Blaster Stash It was not able to make it tonight, so I figured I would go ahead and try to go live for my first time ever on YouTube, besides a test I did a few months back that was just disastrous. It was horrible. Let's give everybody just a few seconds just to kind of see that I'm here. Let's invite some people too. Why not? It would be a good idea. If you don't know, and this is your first time here, normally on Sunday nights at 10 p.m., Blaster Stash It. We do a live comic book review with chat room and all that other great stuff in it. So I definitely want you guys to hopefully partake in that. I don't know. We'll see how bad this goes. This could be a disaster. I'm not normally good at this kind of stuff. That's why I don't normally go live. But we can see what we got coming on. See if any of the crowd over there makes it this way. And then we'll get started. So basically, we're just going to run down the comic books that we went over for October the 2nd, 2019, this year, current year, if you will. I have my notes. I have things to say. Let's see what happens. Let's see. Just give everybody a few minutes. Hey, Mastodon, what's going on, man? Welcome to my first live broadcast. Great to see you here. The boys over at Blaster Stash It are slacking tonight. Hey, Mastodon, how's the sound and everything? Can you actually hear me? I never trust these things. I don't know if it's working or not. Oh, just give everybody just another minute or two. Usually the normal crowd's going into Blaster or Stasher right now. They're all wondering what's going on. Unfortunately, I didn't get the code in time, or not at all. I'm not sure. Yeah, so it's no big deal. We'll just get it going right here. Oh, my Lord. Slightly strange, though. I'm a strange kind of guy. Oh, Lordy. Just go ahead and looks like we got 3 people watching. So again, welcome everybody. I probably still sound a little weird here. It's usually this microphone inside the camera that does that. For some reason, I've been having trouble with my Yeti. But anyway, welcome to the fill-in show for Blast It or Stash It. Right, just the mic on your computer. Might just be the mic. It probably is. It's the camera mic. It's always kind of weird. That, and I don't know if you noticed, but my nose is like super crooked, so it could very well be me as well. Like that's very normal. All right, so if you've ever attended Blaster or Stash It before, basically what we do is we take this week's rundowns and we either stash them, which means we're going to keep them until we get a better offer for them, or we're going to blast it, which means they're just garbage books that nobody should really be reading. So tonight's going to be very one-sided, so definitely please join in on the chat. And oh, thanks, Mastodon, for sharing it. I appreciate that. So please be active in the room. Let me know what you thought about some of these comic books, if they were any good, if they were bad. That's not a problem. Let's go ahead and start off with our first one. And I'm going to talk about Immortal Hulk. I really like this. This 24. This finally closes out a arc for us, which is just awesome. And it was a great arc. And through the whole series so far, we've been kind of dealing with the spiritual part of the world, you know, dealing with hell and all that. And then the actual world itself and the combat. And then at the end of this, we get taken into the cosmos finally. Left it off. Some speculation out there going on right now if maybe Immortal Hulk might turn into the new Galactus, which was kind of a cool concept there at the end. The art in this has just been beautiful. It's been a great read. What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments. But yeah, all in all, I've just been absolutely just impressed. That right there, that was just great. First, everybody was speculating on the covers if it was going to be like a world breaker type Hulk thing. I was kind of hoping they wouldn't go that route. That would have just been, ugh. cringeworthy. But yeah, all in all, Immortal Hulk, definitely a stash. If you're not reading Immortal Hulk, I don't know what to tell you. Like every comic book YouTuber out there is telling you to read it, and so is Pocan Joe, because it's just awesome. What did you all think about it? Now, of course, if you're also a avid watcher of the Blaster or Stash It, you also know I can't do anything without a beer. Yeah, that's me. Beer ready. Oh. All right, Daddy's got his medicine. Let's roll. Okay, moving on. My next selection I decided to pick up this week was this Deceased. DC Comics been doing a great job with this story so far. They haven't made it too complicated. I went with this one. I'm actually going to end up with all the covers because I did one of those things on Comic Mint or something like that where you can order them all at one time. So I'll be getting all of them, but I've really been loving this. And we kind of hinted at this over at Blast It or Stash It. We talked about, what would happen if like the Trinity, one of the Trinity, from the Justice League actually got infected with this technovirus thing. And sure enough, there he is, the Flash. He's running around biting everybody. It was absolutely epically awesome the way it was done. Superman has to go out there and stop him and legitimately flies right through him. I just thought that was just epic storytelling right there. Maybe not so much on the end where it actually ended up hurting Superman, and now Superman's infected. He's in space. He's blasting his eyes out, with this laser vision thing. I thought that was really great. I thought it was fun. And this story has just been one failure after another. And I think that's why I really been liking it. Every time there's just like the slightest bit of hope in this, it gets taken away from us. We start setting up refuge places all over the world, and next thing you know, boom, it just happens. I don't know. It's just an awesomely good book. I highly recommend it for everybody. If you haven't been reading Deceased, go get it. It's just great reading. But definitely let me know what you think about these books in the comments. I'm always happy to talk to you. And of course, we'll move on to an independent now. Something else I have been reading quite a bit. This is called, I like these kind of off-the-wall kind of independent books. This one's called Gutter Magic. Gutter Magic's a fun read. I think if you like that kind of steampunk with wizards and stuff in it, you are going to love this book right here. Cinder and his friend Blacktooth, who's a goblin. Yeah, so right then and there you go. Everybody kind of wears these kind of clothes and everything kind of has this kind of medieval or 19th century feel to it. Basically, the story breaks down like this. Our rogue Scallion and Blacktooth, his partner, are stealing a particular piece of magic. And it's really a spell that has been torn up, and they're each getting a piece, or they're trying to get pieces of the spell put together so Cinder can actually have his magic back. Apparently, his family were powerful at one time. They didn't really say too much about that. They just kind of hinted on it. But it's been really fun, and it's a really read to watch him try to go in there, and this wizard tries to beat him or whatever. And he's basically your typical archetype thief, scallion type character. They barely get away, but apparently he has a reputation throughout town of being this sort of person, so he's not very well liked. Well, the local gang called the Morgue, which is a bunch of people with death muerta type paintings on their face, are going after him. We get an interesting look at the innards of the goblin market where most people aren't allowed to go. And it was just fun, and it's a hard stash because it is just a whimsical story that I think most people would like. So definitely check that out. And did anybody else read that? Please, please, please let me know. The sweet nectar of ambrosia. All right. Let's start our list back over, and let's go to Ghost Rider. How many people are reading Ghost Rider? #1 just came out. We're kind of picking up on this whole Johnny Blaze being in hell or being the king of hell. Mephisto's tied up, and hell's kind of in a turmoil, rebellious state right now. A lot of people are trying to overthrow Johnny Blaze as being the boss, or trying to escape hell outright. So he's escaping. It has been awesome. Mastodon says he's been catching up on Powers of X and House of X. We're going to talk about those two. We'll get around to those in just a few minutes. So yeah, back to Ghost Rider. Everybody's trying to escape hell because apparently Johnny Blaze is kind of a rough one. Oh, hey, it's Gordon Vandell. Good evening. Where's the rest of the crew? Have you discussed Deceased? Yes, yes, we just got done with Deceased and just how epically good that was and how fun of a read it is. We did. And the rest of the crew, well, they're out, so we didn't get the code for the actual Blaster Stash It channel, so I figured I'd just do it over here. Thanks for coming by, Gore. Appreciate having you here. But yeah, we're going to talk about Ghost Rider real quick, about how basically there's this big uprising in hell. A bunch of demons escaped. Johnny Blaze is out there. He enlists the help of Danny Ketch, the second Ghost Rider, to kind of help run down everything. We have a new keeper of the books. Mephisto's got something in the secrets, or something in the work, and Lilith is back in action with him, and they got her in a little scooter gang, which is great homage. So yeah, this is really good. Basically, Danny Ketch down and out on his luck, the reluctant guy of all. So yeah, it's been pretty cool. So let's check out the chat real quick and see what we got going on. We got, well, like they say in Texas, one Ranger, one riot. I like that. Nice, I like it. So yeah, Ghost Rider's been good. I predict that's going to be a good read coming up. So if you're not picking that up, you may want to, especially if you're a Ghost Rider fan, and it doesn't really matter what era of Ghost Rider you're a fan of, because they constantly throw all the Ghost Riders in these stories lately. It's been very fun. Let's see here. Let's move on to DC Marvel. So we'll move on to DC. Justice League number 33. This is kind of a weird story here. Not really sure what they were going with, but in this one we basically have, and this is where things got weird, right? So you got the Monitor, Anti-Monitor, and the World Forger, and they kind of, I don't know, Voltron themselves together is the best way to do it. They just kind of collide into each other to make this powerful being that should be able to beat Perpetua. I thought that was cheesy. Like, at best, I thought that was just, I was like, oh, that's not even comic booky. That's just, it's more like anime, really. They're still doing their jumps back and forth from the present and past and future. Aquaman takes everybody down to Atlantis because that's where Aquaman goes. Because, you know, maybe he's got some goldfish or something down there that will save the day. I don't know. Anyway, they got down there, and of course, it's been overrun by the Doom. Cheetah's got Poseidon on a leash. Literally, that happened in here, and that was actually kind of funny. As you can see there, that was just, oh, so silly. In the future one, obviously Brainiac 1 billion is beating all of our heroes there. So Kazar goes in and gets the help from the Justice League Unlimited crew, and apparently they're going to step in. So if you don't know who that is, it's basically Batman Beyond and all those characters. They're going to kind of go in. Not a whole lot of deepness here. We're kind of just, I mean, we're telling 3 different stories at 3 different angles. So not really, it's basic comic book storytelling. I'm trying to find the Justice League Unlimited, folks. We can show you a picture of that. Now, also another group showed up in the Atlantis picture, and it's these cats here. And originally I thought it was the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but it's actually Vandal Savage and the Legionnaires Club in that. So that was pretty cool. And then, yeah, our Justice League Unlimited. I never watched a whole lot of Batman Beyond. I know a lot of people have. I just never got around to watching it. So if it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. Going back to Independent, something that's really kind of first time it's come out is this vampire state building story. This is actually good. While I was reading this, I was kind of getting this whole Die Hard vibe from it, you know, where they're kind of, I don't know how to describe it. It's all right. So basically the premise of the story is a young man's about to go off and join the army for reasons that he doesn't really feel like explaining to anybody, which is fine. And his friends are all like, they're all sad and bummed out that he's leaving, but he's going to go do great things in the military. I think he said he was going to be a mechanic or something like that, which is noble because military vehicles always need work on. Like, it's just horrible. So, and they're doing the tour of the Empire State Building while they're doing renovations in it to bring the building up and make it more green and efficient. Well, apparently they stumble across a room in the Empire State Building. It's basically a tomb for a vampire. Right? Apparently they wake up this vampire guy, and it wakes up all the other vampires in the city. So the premise is that these cats were always around. Now they make the vampires seem like the downtrodden, you're homeless and stuff like that. So they all descend upon the building and just run amok in there. So everybody's trying to escape vampires. No real hero stuff going on in this just yet, but we do get a lot of action in this and just a sense of panic. And it really paced it out very well in this book, this kind of sense of we need to go now, we need to hide, we need to go. It just came out very good. I thought it was a great read. I'm definitely recommending this one, and this one's also a hard stash. I'm going to be getting some more of this because is kind of die-hardish as it kind of came off. You still kind of got like this 80s, 90s vampire feel to it because it's such a silly story. It's something as new as the Empire State Building versus what you normally hear, like some ancient cave someplace or along those lines. And that was really cool. I liked what they did there. So I'll be picking up some more of that as well. Let's get on to House of X. Oh my God, are you reading House of X? I've constantly said I'm just going to do a review on all these and kind of mirror it up to some papers that were written on basically how society is built and how nations are built because it follows it so beautifully, and I thought this was great. And of course, in this issue, we find out we get the trial of Sabretooth in it, and we find out what he's guilty for, and then they make a law for it. That's okay. So he gets pushed down to the bottom of the island because that's their prison now, and they don't kill each other or kill mutants. So he gets dragged to the proverbial hell, if you will, down below. And which is weird because Xavier's constantly kind of got this kind of, I don't know, this religious theme to him all the time. I'm not going to say like Jesus theme, but he's definitely a god because he gives people their memories and things along those lines. So I thought that was interesting. This council, the way they bicker back and forth, you can definitely tell where some people care about things and some people are disinterested in it. That's very probably accurate when it comes to politics, I would say, to just about every degree. So yeah, a lot of great stuff going on in this. I like this whole putting Sabretooth in the bottom of the island because we know that that's going to come back and bite us later. So we're kind of getting this great setup for great stories. Plus, they got already a whole line out with the Marauders and New Mutants and everything coming along with it. It's going to be some really great stuff. Let's see here, Matt. Let's go to the chat real quick. I don't think my shop got who wrote it. We can take a quick peek back and we can take a look at that. Let's see who wrote this. It's from Blaze Comics. Not sure who wrote this. That's a good question. Oh, let's see what we got here. Hey, Great Legend just stopped into the room. Hey, man, thanks for coming by. Angie and Patrick Renault. I've never heard of them before, but yeah, I would definitely check that out. Let's see here. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see here. I'm loving Emma Frost is written in all of her snarky glory. Yes, I love how snarky she is. I love how all the characteristics are being played out around their little table and council here. Like, there's so many different personalities. No two are the same. So that will always make voting kind of interesting in it. That would be good. Let's see here. It was kind of effed up. What they had done. Yeah, it was kind of effed up. It was definitely It was definitely something different. That's for sure. Pocan, are you reading Green Lantern by Grant Morrison? It's freaking. I had to drop it because the comic book content that I was bringing home was starting to get a little big, and I really wanted to get some more independent stuff involved. So I tried. Had to kind of drop that for a little bit when they were going through their. Oh, what was the storyline at the time? Where he was being held on the planet and was made to be a bad guy for a while. He was kind of doing an undercover thing. It was pretty early. I haven't heard of them either, but thanks for the suggestion. I'm telling you, for some reason, when I read that Vampire State Building story, that was pretty good. I don't know why I'm so drawn to that book. I would definitely check it out yourself. Definitely. House of X is consistently good. I can't wait for all the spin-offs from that. Now, how much of that will I actually be getting? I don't know. I'm going to have to pick and choose there because they're literally launching that whole mutant thing. And apparently a lot of people are getting a lot of freedom on that. Pocan, let's see here on the chat room. Hey, guys, thanks, everybody, for coming by. I really do appreciate it. Again, I know the guys at Blaster Stash are sorry that they couldn't make it tonight, so hopefully this is a satisfactory substitute. Let's see here. Last one. Speculation of maybe Hal and Black Star. Not sure, but love the whole arc. Yeah, definitely. It is a good arc, but, you know, sometimes you just got to make sacrifices. Let's see here. Let's talk about one of my favorite reads this week. It is definitely my stash of the week, and that is, of course, Savage Avengers. I have been absolutely just in love with the mercilessness of this particular comic book. And in this one, we actually get kind of like just two guys just bonding. And they're bonding the only way that these two guys know how to bond, with violence, gore, and blood. Right? As they're traveling, dragging Frank Castle's family, their corpses, through the Antarctica. We kind of get this really cool scene where we see Conan actually try to use a machine gun. And I love the fact that he just didn't pick it up and was just automatically good with it. Like everything, like it was just a disaster, how disastrous it was. And then he gets frustrated with the thing because it runs out of ammunition and he just clobbers a dinosaur to death with it. That was awesome. I love the fact that these two guys are hanging out, a little modern, a little old. I thought that was really great. Just a lot of great stuff going on in this book. The conversations between them. We thought they would take more of a religious tone in this particular issue, but they didn't, and that was probably safe. But I love this end right here where they do the bro wave. I don't know if you have ever done the bro wave, but the bro wave always works like this. You know, like you're not like bye. You know, you're always like or pound it, or yeah, it's just very simple. Little smirk of a smile on their face. Definitely built a bond there. I thought that was great. I can't recommend this enough. This is this is good reading, and it's not overindulgent in itself. And that's what makes it even better. Let's see here. I have been reading The Blackest Night and Green Lantern by Jeff Johns. I've read that series. It's a good series on the app. I love it. That is a good one there, Legend. Pocan Joe recommended Saturday, which I am glad he did. It is very good. It is so good to read a comic book where, I don't know, it's just, I can't explain it. I guess there's other comic books like it. Nothing in my stacks. Like I'm just saying. Let's talk about some DC stuff. Okay, yeah, let's talk about this. No, let's talk about this instead, because I know everybody's wanting to know about Batman number 80 right there. I don't know what happened. We had, in my personal view, not to make anybody mad, but I read a lot of this so far, and by far this is the best issue as of right now. This has been great. This hasn't been great. This issue has been great. We finally get Batman being Batman, and he's engaged with his enemy, and he's beating them, and it has just been great. And was there some cheesy moments in it? Yeah. You know, I did like this scene right here where he's like, hell yeah, as he takes down Kite Boy. There was some confusion here at the beginning where we have Two-Face hanging out with the pig. I thought they like Bane captured everybody up and like they were like going against the bad guys. We're going against the bad guys, but apparently they fell in line. I'm not sure how that worked. Like I've bought every issue since 50, or actually since 40, and so maybe I need to go back. Maybe I missed something. I don't know. But yeah, I like this. I like Gotham Girl. She's getting sick. We see the caringness of Thomas Wayne trying to be part of it. This part with Hush and the whole standoff thing, super cheesy. I know, just so cheesy. But it was so good to actually see it again. So yeah, so I get to say this, and I want everybody to mark their calendars. But Batman this week was a stash for me, and I haven't been able to say that for a while now. So good job. We'll definitely keep that. Let's go back to the chat and see what's going on. See who's yelling at me so far. Rick, okay. Legend, have you read Bendis's Legion of Superhero books? Poorly done. Let's see here. I've read also Fro Howlermouse. Okay. Let's see here. I don't know. Romano Jr. drew this issue. I have to say I was surprised. Just like yeah, I was so surprised by it. It was actually good. Legends, Legion Super splash pages of the team remind me of Stepford Sons. Oh, Stepford Sons. I remember that. Yeah, good stuff. All right, let's keep moving on. We'll go ahead and talk about an independent book. We'll go ahead and talk about this. Are you reading Space Bandits? This is Space Bandits number 4. If you don't know, this thing got optioned by Netflix like super early, like before the release of issue number 1. This got picked up. And I was kind of worried about it. I thought maybe we would have a Mary Sue type story on this. And I'll be honest with you, they have not. They have done everything they can to avoid that horrible, horrible writing shortcuts. They have written themselves a story, and they have made it complicated. They made their heroes with limits. They've made bad guys that are just villainous, which I absolutely love. Sometimes it's good to have a bad guy that doesn't have some moral reason for what he's doing. They're just bad guys. They like to steal stuff. That this is doing that. I am losing. Originally, they kind of had that whole 80s and space thing themed, and they've kind of pulled away from that. You're not getting a whole lot of that anymore in this, but you're still getting a great story. And if you don't know, they're on a love ship right now. We'll call it the Love Boat, right? But it's like depravity at its highest regard. They get captured. The people, they're trying to kill a guy on there that stole some money from the bad guys who stole the money from the good guys. It's complicated. It's comic books. So they got him chained up. They're trying to figure everything out. Come to find out, yeah, it was all just a ploy to get rid of the guy anyway because they didn't much like him. So they cut him in half. Yeah, they did that. It was awesome. And then we find out that one of our heroes, her lover, is about to marry a princess who, just for her money, of course, to scam her out of all of it. And come to find out, the last guy on the other teammate side of the house, they're actually working together to steal money from this lady. And here's why I really like this story. It bundles everything. It makes the universe seem a lot smaller than it is with its storytelling. I know that doesn't make much sense, but what are the chances of two bad guys that screwed over the two same women working together? And sometimes when we write big stories like this and we get, galactic with it, it tends to get a little weird. You don't know where everything is, but this is keeping everything nice, compact, and I like that. It makes the story easier to tell. So let's go back to the room. What do we got going on? It's hard not to think about Time Bandits, a film I saw in the theater when I was a kid. I saw that in the movie theaters too. I loved Time Bandits. I think I have, I have the comic book run for that too upstairs when it first came out. My favorite part was watching it on HBO. That was the best, with the little black box with all the numbers on it. Let's see here. Love Time Bandit says The Great Legend. I need to rewatch that with my own kids. I think every kid needs to watch that. It was just a great storytelling overall. All right, going back to Marvel. Let's see what happened in Marvel this week. Okay, let's talk about this. All right, so SpiderVerse #1 again. Right? Like, how many times are we going to do this? First off, I went with the Black Noir cover because at this point, it doesn't even matter anymore. So, what did we get in this? First thing, they talk about this thing called binds in it. BRANES. That's an actual term. I don't know if y'all knew that. So, as dimensions, as we know, are broken into 3, right? First, second, and third dimensions. And then the fourth one would be time, which binds it all together. This is all based off of string theory. This is how much research I do for you guys. I read things that I should not randomly be reading. However, when you do mess with it, you should be able to pull through various dimensions. That's the whole point of string theory as a whole. I learned something new. So, as Miles Morales gets pulled through by using it, by the way, thank you, writers, for doing a little research on it because it's actually used correctly. What do we get in this? Well, first, the thing you got to know is it's SpiderVerse, right? So we already know what's going to happen. Lots of first appearances, tons of first appearances, and every issue from here on out. So many that it's not going to matter. So if you're looking for quick flips here, I revert you back to the last SpiderVerse and the SpiderVerse after that and the SpiderVerse after that, just to kind of get that squared away. So we have a new keeper of the web, if you will, why Aunt May Spider-Woman is sewing it all up. We got some interesting characters in this. I'm not taking that away from it. And it looks like we got kind of a story. But they didn't do very well in describing it. We spent the entire issue him just getting pulled through different dimensions and having different quick interactions with people that he normally wouldn't. So not really a whole lot going on in this issue other than that there's another existential threat and science stuff, and it's a problem. That's all we got from this issue. So, unfortunately, because of the narrative in this, I have to blast this one, but I'm still holding on to issue #2 to actually give me the story and what's going on in that. Ooh, that's a lot to say. Let's talk about Superman. Up and away. Well, let's go back to the room real quick and see who all's here. Love Time Bandit and watching Alone Kids. I got away from Geeks, Drinks, and Comics. Thanks for coming by, man. I appreciate it. Tonight's your alternative to Blaster Stash It. The crew was not able to make it, so I figured I would at least come on here and at least try to do something for everybody. I normally don't do live shows, so let me know how I'm doing. If it's just awkward and weird, I think I need to drink more. Let's see here. Gore talking about Time Bandits. The film was wonderfully subversive. I think it was. I would agree with that. Geeks and Drinks as science. That's probably when I was trying to explain, like physics to people. Yeah, no, I'm not. And Gore comes back with, I can't keep track of all the Spider-Man books. I know it's a lot. Don't worry, we're going to have the same problem with X-Men here soon enough. I missed the 80s Peter Parker stories with 2 titles, Amazing and Peter Parker. Yeah, I kind of remember that. And then a little bit later, you got the web and all that. I'm doing great solo tonight. You're a natural, man. Thanks, Legend. I appreciate the compliment. Definitely keep this party going, though. So Superman, up and away. You may remember at the beginning of this, a little girl was kidnapped and rushed off to another planet, but we never really heard much about it, and we still don't in this one. So when I first started reading this, and I'll tell you, King, you got me. I started reading this, and what's up, Jason Smith? Thanks for swinging by, man. It's great to have you here. I started reading this, and I was like, at first I thumbed through it just like you normally would with a comic book. And I looked at my wife and I was like, oh my God, will you look at this? It's nothing but narration. Good job, King, right? I'm making fun of King. And I was like, well, whatever. I got to buy it because I'm not getting a whole lot of DC stuff. So, let's do this. So I start reading through this and I'm like, what? This does not sound like an adult speaking. This sounds weird. And if you don't know, it's basically the retelling of the great Superman and Flash race. Hey, Discovery Bay. Thanks for coming by, man. Love having you here. It's kind of reprinting that story, if you will, but it's giving it from somebody's actual perspective that kind of sort of saw it. And it was still kind of hinky on how that actually worked in this whole thing. And then what we do is we actually find out that it's the little girl, and she's probably in the most scariest place that any young little girl could possibly be in. She's in an alien prison, and she's talking to her little Superman doll. And I was like, oh, that narration I read was this little girl just trying to comfort herself. I actually felt like a douchebag. So, King, congratulations. You outsmarted me, buddy. Yeah. And then we kind of had this kind of offshoot story with Superman and Clark Kent. It's a weird one. I'm not even going to get into it. So I'll feel like a jerk if I blast this, right? Because the little girl stuck in a prison, how heartless can I possibly be? But I have to look at it objectively. I think all in all, I think it was a cheap shortcut to tell a story from a child's perspective, so nobody could criticize your book. So I think I'm going to go ahead and blast it, unfortunately. I don't know. Like, I have all 4 issues of The Flash and Superman running. It's a retelling. It's what it is. So going to the chat real quick, we got everybody's waving to the legend. Everybody's waving to each other. Wait, Joe is by himself. Yeah, I'm by myself tonight. I'm sorry. What's happening today on Discovery Bay? What a great family. I definitely, if you're just watching the chat room right now, definitely get engaged with all these guys. I think I've met the majority of them, and they're all just great people. Definitely want to talk to them. Definitely. Let's see. Moving on. Contagion. So Red Contagion, it's deceased. It's deceased. Instead of a regular like virus type thing, they're just using fungus in this. It didn't read very well. It wasn't very smooth. It was extremely choppy and left way up just ridiculousness. Like, all right, the 3 guys that get infected with the virus, or not, see, I'm even doing it. They get infected with the fungus. How do they get from China, right, to New York in any substantial amount of time that's relevant to the story in this? It doesn't. I thought it was cool they brought back the Mole Man and all the molings. That was cool. But other than that, I'm going to have to blast it. I'm calling shenanigans on that one, unless something really happens. And also, they introduce, Iron Fist there at the end of it. And I've never been an Iron Fist fan. I'm probably going to get all kinds of thumbs down for that. I don't get why he's doing it. Why he even exists. It's weird. White guy, Asian guy with glowing hands. No, thank you. Yeah. Let's see here. What else we got going on? Hey, Donnie. Great Legend says, me too, man. A lot of shout outs to JB. I'm working on my online store setting prices now. Congratulations, Jason Smith. What kind of store is that? Is that a comic book store? Let us know. If you got a link, put it in the chat. Let's see, I skipped that one. We'll read the Marvel Unlimited. Yeah, I would definitely. The Contagion can wait to if you have one of the online deals. Yeah, I would probably read it on there. 11 more days to Baltimore Comic-Con. You're right, buddy. Nice, Jason Smith, and is clothing and stuff. Oh, okay. Throwing out that fresh threads. I see. Nice. All right, moving on. Let's go to Berserker. Berserker Unbound. This is a good story too. I like the conflict of 2 people trying to communicate that are actually saying the same thing, which they literally do in this one. Trying to figure out each other, trying to figure out their environment. I like that. And they're not doing the stupid tropey thing where like there's a bunch of misunderstandings. They're doing their best to communicate, and it's becoming effective. It's more realistic to me. Now, at the end of this, we get our bad guys from Berserker's world. He's coming to, let's just say, New York. They never really defined it. They're coming to our world. We'll put it that way. And looks like some stuff is going to start happening there. So this is about to get very action-packed very quickly. I think everybody's going to like that. Definitely, if you haven't read it yet, jump on board with that. Let's see. Discovery Bay says he's reread Hulk or Immortal Hulk 1 through 10 this morning. I know, it's so good, especially those first 10 issues. Let's see here. Jason Smith says, but I don't have an Iron Man reactor heart and the Infinite Ring Iron Man reactor heart chain. Okay, cool. Okay. Drew Manchu says, hey, Joey, I'm sorry I couldn't make the show tonight. Driving home from. Hey, we understand. We understand. Hey, life happens, guys. I'm plenty of time on my hands. Figured I'd just launch it on my channel. Not a problem. We're going to get this done. That way our fans have a weekly show that they can rely on. You're welcome, America. I've always wanted to do that on live television. Okay, moving on. I read this. How many of you read it? Absolute Carnage, Immortal Hulk. Here's the thing, right? Great cover. I got that cover everybody's wigging out for. That was great. We've seen this. Like, we've seen this a lot. I'm going to have to blast this story in it, though. Basically, it's just Bruce Banner stuck in his own head with all of his other personas kind of coming in, having a conversation, and he's talking to Venom the entire time. And then they're all like, yeah, we'll give you permission to be here. Ugh. And I'm like, I don't remember anybody asking. Like, Venom just did it. Like, I don't know. I guess maybe the Hulk, the mean Hulk can come out and rip it off or whatever. But I didn't find this story extremely relevant to the absolute carnage. We already know what happened. We already know what happens. So it happening is ridiculous. I will say this, though. My wife collects pops, and she has one of the first Venomized Hulk pops. Now it makes sense, right? Because that's what I got out of that. So yeah, unfortunately, we're gonna have to blast that one because that's again, this whole internal monologue thing should not take up an entire book. Nobody's that interesting. I'm not that interesting to be stuck in my own head for that long. No. For the last of my independents, I read Black Terror. If you don't know who Black Terror is a great Golden Age comics. Just a year or two ago, they relaunched the Superpowers, and he was in that as well, and it was a great story. Not so much this. Yeah, we're doing this. I don't know how to describe it. I don't know if people understand. Okay, so in this, Black Terror he ages slowly. He's a pharmacist in this one, and because he suffers from PTSD, he's popping pills and drinking a lot in this. And apparently his cure to stop his addiction problem is to go punch bad guys in the face. I'm just going to let that one melt into your heads for a few minutes. That's ridiculous. I'm not buying that. And it seems like a very simple trope that seems to be happening a lot lately. Another one, what was the one? Oh, the Daredevil, or the Death-Defying Devil. They did the same thing there. Like the Marine veteran that was in there, he was like a recovering alcoholic and drug guy too. This constant trope is I think it's a little overplayed at this point. And the art in this is just weird. I'll give you an example. And the sad thing is, I have some Golden Age Black Terror stuff, and it's just so great. And in this, they take them and let me get one of the great clothes. Yeah, this is what our superhero looks like in this book. What? That's just ridiculous. Come to find out, he's been working as a pharmacist. There's a lady pharmacist who's been working with him. Well, dun, dun, dun. She's actually the daughter of a villain that Black Terror beat once before, and she's been keeping an eye on him. And they're like, hey, if you keep trying to be a superhero, we're going to make your life really, really bad. That's the story. 2019. That's what writers do to us now. Okay, let's go to the chat. We got Drew Manchu came in and said hi. Gore Vandal says hi back to him. Laugh out loud. Drinks, geeks and drinks and comics. Love Absolute Carnage, but didn't care for the art inside. Yeah, I'll go with you as well as that. Gore Vandal, I enjoy Absolute Carnage Hulk. I'm surprised you didn't like it. Yeah, again, this stuck in your own head, and the whole thing was just monologue. I mean, that was probably my biggest hang up with it. Yeah, they did kind of explain that time period where Thunderbolt Ross was, pulled out of his grave and all that. They kind of jumped around in that. But again, it was still all internal monologuing. I'm just not a fan of that. That old boy, brother, Wonder Man's brother. Yeah, right. I like what they did in Project Superpowers with those characters, but that looks like BS. Yeah, I don't know. I'll pick up issue 2 because I'm a long fan of Black Terror. Maybe something will come out of it, but basically we just got to come out of retirement story and get off them pills. That's what we got from this. Let's see. Don't have the Skull and Crossbones or Wonder Man's brother's name is. Yeah, I forgot. Thumbs up this video. Yes, please give me a thumb. I love thumbs up. Hey, don't be scared. If it's really bad, give me a thumbs down too. This is America. You do what you want on this channel. I got to get ready for something. All right, man. Thanks for coming by. Appreciate having you. Go back to that comment, Black Terror. Okay, we can go back to Black Terror real quick if there's something you want to see in it, Jason. Carnage is good tie-in. Good for Hulk readers and pull them into Carnage. I'll buy that, but again, it was just maybe I'm just off put with internal monologuing. So yeah, Black Terror. Just to give you a quick glance at this monstrosity again, and also the art's not consistent in it either. It's constantly just all over the place. But yeah, there's Black Terror in 2019. Yeah, that's what we got. Let's see here. I got ready for something. Okay, but go back to the cover. I got that. Drew's message. Let's see. Great legend, Drew. I still haven't been cranking out the Blackest Night series. Okay, where's the show, dude? Where are you, show the dude? That's what it was. Yeah, you did. Marvel. I felt right. It's not. All right, moving on. My last 3 books are all Marvel books. Bizarre Adventures. This was okay. I'm kind of on the fence with it. It's 50-50 for me. And this, you got 3 great stories in this. You get a character you don't really hear a whole lot anymore. And I remember reading about him when I was a kid, and that is Bloodstone. If you don't know, Bloodstone is an immortal. Meteorite comes to Earth, a piece of it breaks off, hits him in the chest. He's got superpowers. He's immortal now. There, you've been caught up. But I did like what they did in this one where they had him battling a Skrull in a cave. And it's constantly changing form. So that was pretty good. And they're the gods of the caves because, this is old-timey fantasy type story stuff. That was really fun. I thought it was great action in it. We get another one of the Kung Fu master himself, Sung Chi. Apparently he meets up with his elder teacher every so often, and they basically just battle it out, right, for training purposes. That's what they call it. I really like this because at the end we kind of get this hint that he's actually just kind of letting the old guy win so he can keep hanging out with him. That was pretty cool. Immediately made me think of sometimes, I know this is going to be a bad thing, right? Sometimes at my American Legion, some of the older guys in there, like I'll start a little tiny argument with them. Just like a little one, just so they feel engaged with younger people. I know that's so bad, right? But they actually enjoy arguing with me, and it's so much fun to argue with them. And I always let them win. I'm like, well, that's a very good point. I didn't think of that. And then I walk away. And I do that on purpose, and everybody knows I do. I think they may even know that I do it that too. That's what that kind of reminded me of. So that was fun. We get another great story about Dracula. Dracula's been in Marvel comic books forever, and this is a great little story with Van Helsing. But it's also a sad story because it's the daughter of Van Helsing, and he kind of likes her, and has to unfortunately not be with her, but also watch her die at an old age. It's kind of a twist ending, so I just ruined that for you. So that was fun. And then we get Goliath, and Goliath's really egotistical, but we also get a little bit of an explanation about his powers and a behind the scenes on it as well. Apparently, every time he grows, the way his powers work, it actually shrinks a dimension so he can grow, right? Think of a slinky, right? And what we never realize is that maybe that dimension has living forms in it. Right? So every time he does it, these poor little things get all meshed up, and I was like, oh, that is so awesome. That is such a great spin on that. So I enjoyed that as well. So all in all, this was pretty much a so-so book. And the only reason why I say it's so-so is because these little tiny stories like that, you're only going to get so much from that. But it was still great. And so I'll definitely be picking up issue 2 for that. Marvel Comics 1001. I'm not going to go through every little story that happened in here. Some good, and a lot of bad. A lot of bad in here. But I am still intrigued with this masked writer, the Black Mask guy. Again, another Golden Age comic book that they're bringing out. Kind of updated his story a little bit. Made his mask come from the Cape of Eternity. That was awesome. Hey, what's up, Double S? Hey, Double S, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Thank you for swinging by. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. I wish they would stop doing the little one-pagers about every single comic book that they had nothing to do with, especially the stuff from Timely, because then they could fit some more of this new character in here, and I find that a lot more interesting. And last but not least, Fantastic Four. I had to go with the Mary Jane cover on this. This was beautiful. So what do we get from this? This is actually probably the more interesting story of the week. So we get some people that had gotten a prophecy on a planet. And I love the fact that all the words that the Fantastic Four say in this are, you can't read them, right? It's some alien language to the natives there. So they have a superhero team there, and they're battling the Fantastic Four. And the way it comes off is neat. That's the best way to put it. It's just really fun. It's really neat. I'm having fun with this story. I'm glad they decided to try the rocket launch thing again. It makes sense. So, yeah, definitely. This is a hard stash. Pick this up. Chock full of first appearances for all you flippers out there. That should be pretty interesting. Other than that, that's all my comic books. That's. I didn't get 20 this week. I only got 19. My wife said, "Don't you go buying 20 comic books?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." So yeah, that's my week. What did you all read? All right, guys, if you don't know, it's getting about that hour, so I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping this up. Hey, guys, thank you all very much for swinging by. I appreciate it. This is my first official live thing that I've done on my own. So definitely let me know in the comments. How'd we do? Right? Definitely want to know. Also, if you don't know, Baltimore Comic Con's coming up. Who's going? Who's not going? If you're going, we need to know. Either the Blaster Stash It crew or the Comic Core crew. We need to know so we can maybe do a meetup. We can all have some libations, make bad decisions, and avoid jail time. That would be awesome. So definitely let us know so we can get that information to you. You can follow us on all of our social media aspects out there. Instagram, Facebook. I believe some of us have Twitter. I don't use Twitter. I know, yeah, everybody else has got Twitter. You can comment on our videos, whatever the case may be. We definitely want to let you know. And definitely during the week or the weekend of Comic-Con, definitely keep your eyes open. You never know when a video is going to pop up with some interesting stuff going on in it. Who knows? Last year it was karaoke. This year it could be a duel in the front yard with Nerf guns. I don't know. All right, folks. I'm not going to keep you up any later. I got to get to bed. 5 o'clock comes early. Hey, guys, again, I can't thank you enough for coming by. I hope you all have a great time. I'll talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.